Hello and welcome to Life is Magical podcast. I'm your host, Srimanju Katagada, intuitive healer, Akashic Records reader, Hay House author of Connect to Your Inner Guide book, and who believes in experiencing healing and life is magical. Through this show, I'll be sharing my toolbox, which is full of life hacks, tips for rainy days, ways to hold our connections with the inner guide, and much more fun things. Let us begin this journey.
Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another wonderful episode. So, this is episode 6. We're going to talk about boundaries. Hope you all have been having a great time. And thank you for those personal messages sharing about what you're thinking about this podcast. And I'm so grateful for reading them and connecting to you guys with it. So, boundaries are an interesting conversation. I'm going to talk about it in details related to the energetic boundaries, not the physical ones. Energetic boundaries. This has been a topic in most of my workshops that I really enjoy sharing my view, my thought, and how we can make it better. There has been a time in my life where I haven't understood it, or nobody has told me. As time went on, read many books, connected to many teachers on my path, I got to know more about what a boundary is and how we can honor it and care for ourselves. So before even we connect on it, there are some things that we need to understand, like what exactly is a boundary and how do we know we don't have an healthy boundary around us. So think about, for your home, you have a door, the main entrance or the back entrance, where you have a key and you lock it and keep it safe. And when you go out or when you come in and when you're inside the home, you're only letting people come in, the ones you know, ones you trust, and this is the safety net, right? The same thing has to be done energetically as well. But there are times that when we don't realize it, we surrender, we leave the doors open to our soul, and anyone can come in, anyone can leave anytime they want. You have no control on it. And sometimes it's a loose connections and you feel a lot of soul loss where you feel disheartened. So there could be some things that you can watch out if you are in those situations. Think about, are you being drained? Are you being overwhelmed by people's reactions? Or if someone is having a conversation, is that even draining you? And when you're having an important thing to do, someone barges into your space and they want to talk all about themselves. Like, think about, like, has there been any phone conversation? You wanted to share something, but you ended up listening to the other side of the person. Feeling heavy in your chest just by the connection of someone around you. Even like being drained by people's dramas. Someone has mentioned this, like, circus. So which the person meant was like, I have my own circus to deal with. I don't want to get involved in other people's circus, which is interesting. Yes, because we all have our own part of things to be dealt, and it already is too much to deal with and have a balanced life. And when other people do come in and bring their own stuff to you, it could be a lot to handle and we may feel out of balance. So it could be like too tired to get out of the bed, too much to deal or hold on to the day in your own ways, and part of you is split in multiple activities throughout the day. So if you do recognize these situations in your life, that is where you need to be listening to this episode and see what you can do about it. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do everything in a single day or change your life in just a single shot, but I would ask you to think about it, ponder those thoughts, let them sink in and see what comes out of it. Because there is a reason you have been guided here to listen to this episode, and something might be drawing you, making a connection into your own thoughts, into how the life has been for you. So that will be interesting what comes on as you are listening to this episode. So remember, before we go further, not to take anything personally, but just give a thought to listen to it and digest from a different perspective and see how you would like to react and how you would like to take the next step further in your life. So here are the things. When we say no to something, we are going to give an opportunity to welcome something wonderful in our lives. That could be exactly what we want in our life. Say, right now, I'm going to record this podcast. This is the scheduled time that I have it. And yet, someone calls me now and trying to talk to me about their dramas, which is the 10th time. So my choice is, hey, can I call you back tomorrow and have a chat? I'm in middle of something. Or, as usual, just listen to it, get soaked and not do my work and create a backlog, which will result in more anxiety because I'm not doing something as per my schedule and it's off balance, and that's where I get more upset and that I have to figure it out, how else can I do this? So this is where we need to re-look into it. How do we do this? Because this is not something we grew up doing it, because we were always told be present to everything, everyone, and always try to make everyone happy. This is your duty, especially in the culture that I grew up as a woman. That is the main thing. That's your responsibility to keep the family happy in a balanced, and you should never say no to anything. Or in the work culture, I was trained never say no to anything, opportunities, any work that comes in. Even if you are piled up overworking, never say no, as you don't know whom you're going to upset. So there is a lot of fear that we have been placed on, and we are functioning from that fearful place, and which is going to upset us. And before even that fear comes in, and before even we are going to say no, it says, let me not bother about it. Let me just do it for this time. Because you have to pull your strength saying no. And it's a different vocabulary that we haven't applied before. It doesn't come easily. That is a real struggle that we have to go through. But hang on there. Take a deep breath. If any of those situations do come, if there are repeated things, or a situation comes in, you got some moment to think about it. So here is what you can do. Listen to your gut or your intuition and feel, is this what you really want to do? And the answer always comes in yes and no. The first one, the silently that comes in, is absolutely what you need to do. But again, give it a try a few times and see how your gut talks to you. For me, it is by the subtle sounds, voice that comes in. For you, it could be through a pendulum or through an angel card oracle deck, it could be. Or asking for a sign, it could be. But make it super clear how your gut reacts to your questions. And also make it very clear. When you are dual-minded, hey, I want to do this, but no, I want to hear the message to be no, it doesn't work well. It's like you are trying to be diplomatic, and the answer is going to be kind of diplomatic as well, because that is the vibration that you are fluctuating in the energy realm. And when you are going to say no to a particular thing, think about why are you doing it? And what is that your benefit in it? How are you going to utilize this space? So this week, last week, I do sit with my girls to do some artwork, but last week I had to cancel that time with them. And to do that, I had to think about, all right, if I'm going to not spend an hour of art time with them, which we absolutely love, how well am I going to utilize it, not feeling guilty about it? So I had my schedule. In that hour, I'm going to write my workshop that is coming up last week. I had to sit and prepare for it, so I'm going to be totally productive about it. And that made me feel totally in control. When I was going to say no, there was a perfectly planned yes opportunity in my life. And by end of the week, giving up those hours with my children for the art therapy we do, it was totally worth it by saying yes to myself. And I was so relieved and less pressurized. And it was the best rewarding time I could do for myself. And we did connect over the weekend. So we had a wonderful time later on as well. So these are the things that you really need to focus and think twice. How do I bring it into a better way? And when it's your family member, some people do understand, some people may not understand. But it's your duty to speak up. Maybe you have always been saying yes, and now if they are going to hear saying you no, it does take a little time for them to understand why you are doing it. Maybe a little bit more explanation, not a justification, but explanation what you were going to do or you're planning to do and how important that time could be for you will help them at least to get a view of you, your life, or at least you have informed them with a good decision. That might help as well. And these are the people who support us. They are our true soul tribe who are with us in everything, who can respect and understand deep into it. Some people are only for energy vampires, energy suckers. They just want me, 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 me. But at the end, when you go turn to their door for some time for you, you never would get. I'm sure you relate to that, right? Those kind of people in your life. I do have so many of them. I do relate to it. And that is the kind of a life we are in. With our family, it could be, or our friends, it could be. Neighbors, anyone, So it is about having that internal strength to say no that we need to pull up. Initially, I used to write it down why I want to say yes and why I want to say no. And that helped me to be more constructive because it was a new thing. I remember those days when I was doing in-person workshops. Every alternate weekend, 2 days after working 5 days a week, I used to go for weekend workshops, teach Reiki or Akashic records full time again, which I used to absolutely love it. But if there is a friend's event occasion that would come up, I would still try to make it in the evening. And I know it was exhausting, but I needed something to change as well. But sometimes it would be just too much training that I was not able to pull myself together. And I started re-looking into my life. Do I really need to attend this and get tired for the next day to do my workshop or get back to the work the following day? So when I started putting those boundaries, a lot of friends did give out to me. They left my support. They didn't find it interesting, or they didn't want to relate to me what I was going through. And I had to be very hard on myself doing it, but they couldn't understand it. Now, they haven't been in that journey to fully understand what holding energetically a workshop would mean, and that I get it, so I had to respect their decision, but also moreover I had to respect myself. If someone says anything sarcastically, I would just okay, you don't get me now, thank you for that comment. That's what I would say in my heart, and move further, because my life is in my control and I am totally in control of what I want to bring further. Just like whom you want to let in your home is totally your control, and you have the right, you have the choice. And remember never to be afraid to speak your truth. And when you should not, like when you don't feel right about it, don't be afraid to say. Maybe in the early times you will stammer, but as you do this for the right reasons, you will get better and you will love that freedom, that opening up opportunities in your own life that will come further. And setting a boundary is not about for others, it's just for who you are, and you respecting and honoring yourself. And that is where it starts with as well. And also think about when you start prioritizing yourself, you will feel very good inside, the growth inside you. And also, you will see a lot of things are reflecting as you're raising your vibration. Most of the things that are going to bring joy in your life will come into your life as well. Your health will get better, your physical strength, and also a lot more energy to do the right things you'll be feeling as well, right? And that is the most important thing that you need to notice and observe in your own life. And the same applies once we do this in the home environment, the same reflects into your work environment as well. If you're getting too much pressure, more workload, you're swamped with work, again, you will start speaking up for yourself. Think about if you don't do that, nobody is going to come in and say, hey, you better take some time. You deserve this time. I mean, I haven't had many managers in my whole career, other than one or two occasions where they would have said to take some time off, be nice to yourself. But rarely that comes in. Like mostly it's just like more and more they want to get out of it. And it's just they're being selfish from their own point. And think about, you're being selfish for your self-care. You're being selfish for your self-care. Does that not sound good to hear? And do it, right? I love that, yeah. So whatever you're going to take the actions, they're always going to make it better for yourself. But again, those baby steps to make those new habits does take time. Be patient, be reflective on your growth, and then it gets slowly good that you're feeling totally relaxed about it. Like anything that comes in after like practicing it for so long, now it says like I'm more strongly saying it no, and I have my own reasons for it. And I totally now even getting to the zone of, hey, if I'm going to feel drained about these particular people in my life, I'm going to not entertain that no more. My energy now is more sacred. I want to do for building things, not for recovering from it, because a lot of traumas have gone through in my life. A lot of energy vampires have been, and where I haven't protected myself. So there are many lessons that I had to learn in this growth. And I said, like, no, this is it. I'm not going to do this anymore. And I guess, like a lot of listeners there, you might have been awakening as well since pandemic, growing up to yourself. Like a lot of people who were everywhere, you were placed into your own homes, not able to reach out or been asked for help, which was great, so liberating. I've been hearing a lot of stories from my clients saying it's so good to finally focus on themselves, so good to learn, so good to read a book or just be in themselves in the home, which is just amazing. I mean, like these are the stories you need to hear more often, right? They are totally inspiring and doable as well. And so perfect timings. It started like, I mean, last year wasn't too bad at all for some people. They're so happy about celebrating that the new liberation they found it. I mean, totally due respect to what's happening in the world, but this is a story you do hear, and we need to hear more as well what's happening on the brighter side, you know. So these are the things. For them, the habit just fell in place because they were trying for many years. It didn't happen, but this pandemic that made them do it, or the other side, the situation just were there for them to do. And it's like manifestation came in altogether, right? And that's the most important thing to remember. So habits are not something we create in one day, or you expect to change it in some miraculous way in a day. It's something that we build it up, like, yeah, over the time, over the months, or over the year. And then it gets very easy, and then we can do it what exactly we want to. There is an affirmation I used to repeat in the start of this change is I'm working in my light, I'm caring for myself. I'm working in my light, I'm caring for myself. This was an affirmation that I used to repeat it initially as I was stepping into owning my boundaries and totally being responsibility, taking the responsibility for it and standing up for myself. And as I was doing it, this affirmation was just getting that liberation closer. And also, the universe was supporting those people or those situations were falling or not so needy as well, because I was being shown how I can be strong. But the work always has to begin within us. Now, the universe won't come and say, hey, this is your play card, go and use it. You're getting some time off. You don't need to attend all these people in your life. It's not going to happen. You need to build your own play card where you can say, this is my time. And think about, why should you feel guilty about it? Only when you are stronger, you can be in service to other people fully. But when you're not being stronger, it's so hard, it's so difficult to be of service as well. So that's the thing that you need to remember. And these boundaries again are for you. They're not for others. They don't know what you mean by unless they are your soul tribe. They totally respect. They won't even question you. Hey, not now. Totally get it. Let's catch up later. When you feel good, you know when to reach out to me. You know where I am. We can hang out then. That's it. Like, I never had to give any justification to my tribe. If I say the last minute some plans are being cancelled, I'm so sorry for dropping out, they would hold that space, they would understand, and they would never say anything behind or with me, or I wouldn't do the same to them. So remember, your way of living attracts your tribe, and that is the vibe that you're generating, and that's the most important thing as well. And one thing that reminds me is, a lot of us have forgotten what are we passionate about. What is the most fun thing we like to do in all these chores and the things that we have to do. So here is a moment when you're saying no to something. Also create a time for you saying yes to yourself, where you are just going to begin an art class or a music class, or reading a book that you haven't done, or writing a book, or photography class. But do something that ignites your soul, that brings you into a joyful time that you really are going to enjoy as well. And that will create a new hobby, new interest, and something to look forward in your day, in your life, rather than having all these unresolved things or regrets in our lives, like I wish I did it, like something like that. So think about it, take it back, and you will start feeling good inside out as you're having a passion as well, something to keep you moving. It could be dance, listen to the music, dance, or anything that you would always wanted to do. Now you're finally giving an opportunity to do that. And here is the time to manifest what exactly we want in our life as well. As you're building up your passion, your joyful moments, also in your manifestation or the vision board, have this line or a statement or an energy form where you are asking to send you people who respect you and who understands your opinions and feelings. And that's maybe the start of something else, like your soul tribe who are there for you, will be pushing you or helping you to move further in your life. And this is where, again, like having a boundary, having these inner connections with ourselves will help us to grow deep and also stronger as well. So you learn to say no, and when you prioritize these things, you're also utilizing yes to many other opportunities that are coming up in your life. And remember, only the supported souls are going to be with you in this journey, and that's the most important thing to remember. And once you're clear, it's the start of everything else. When you are fluctuating, should I not do this? It's not going to work. Either say for a month I'm going to try this, or for a week I'm going to try this, and see how you feel about it, and further progress your journey deep into it. So how does that feel for you, even thinking about it? So how about we start a situation which is simple, not having drastic effects, that you can do this with as a trial run, rather than do a bigger commitment. Start with simple, doable actions, and that are much easier to say, that you can do the trial runs onto you. That's again like very easier to implement. So do try that out, and let me know how we get on with it, because this is so important part of our spiritual awakening, and this is one of the most important tools and techniques that I have in my toolkit that I always share with my students, and my favorite conversation as well. The boundaries, the energetic boundaries, are so important. And when you have them, it's so liberating that you are welcoming anyone, any situation, only with your permission. That's the most important thing. It's like literally manifesting more happiness in your life, right? So why not start that right now at this moment, and let me know how you get on. So here, before I close, I would ask you, could you please review the podcast, or share a message, or if you have any comments there, is there anything else you're trying with the boundaries, do let me know. You can connect to me at info@srimanju.com. You'll find my email address or my website down below and in the show notes. So looking forward to connect to you, or either come over onto my Instagram page. I'm a bit active there. So love to hear, and take care, my friends. Have a wonderful week, and take care.
Thank you all for listening in and tuning in to the podcast Life is Magical. I hope you found some good nuggets to move through this week. Want to ask a question? Please email me, or stay connected if something resonated or found useful and helpful from this podcast. I love to hear back from you. My email is info@srimanju.com. That is SRIMANJU, which is in the show notes below. Until next week, namaste and good day. Happy magic. Love to you all. Thank you